The first thing when you're thinking about a weekend adventure, the first thing that you want to think about is the weather. The weather is going to affect a lot of your packing decisions. Hey adventurer, I'm Bridget Hallam from Throw Your Leg Over, and today we're talking about packing for your weekend adventures. And by the end of this episode, I think you'll have a pretty good idea of what to pack and what to leave at home. Now, I love weekend adventures. They're just the best. When Alan and I started riding together back in the day, we started off with day rides and then we started doing some weekend rides, and I love them. It's just a really easy way to explore some new roads and a different environment. And the other thing is that they were actually a bit of a training ground for us for our bigger adventures. When we did a 5-week trip from Brisbane down to Tassie and across to South Australia and then back up to Brisbane again. And also our adventures that we've had in Europe that are sort of 6 to 9 months. The weekend adventures really were great for testing out gear and seeing what worked and what didn't. They're low pressure. You know, you're not that far from home, so if something happens or you're needed back at home or whatever it is, you know, you're not too far away. If you make a mistake, it's pretty easy to recover if you're just on a weekend ride. And also the thing I love about weekend rides is they're really an opportunity to build your confidence in yourself, in your riding skills, in your planning skills, and also, of course, your packing skills. I think the first fear, or maybe that's too strong a word, but the first worry that people have when they're packing for a slightly bigger trip is overpacking. Like that they'll just take way too much and not use half of it. And this might have been your experience. I've certainly had that experience. When we went down to Tassie, I thought it's going to be cold. I'll pack a couple of extra jumpers. And they sat in the bottom of my pannier and never saw the light of day the whole trip. So I hear you if you've overpacked. I know how that feels. But it's great because you learn, you know. I learned that I didn't need to take extra jumpers. The other thing about overpacking is that, of course, it makes your bike that much heavier and a little bit harder to maneuver. So if you can really develop your packing skills so that you can pack light and pack confidently, it'll make your adventures easier and more stress-free too, I'd add. So in this episode, I'm going to share my suggestions for how you can pack lightly and easily for your next weekend adventure. And a quick tip before we dive in, your packing will evolve. Our packing has evolved over the years. Oh my gosh, when I think about the things that we packed when we first started, things that were heavy and bulky and some things that we really didn't need. We thought we needed, but we didn't really need them. So just cut yourself some slack. Your packing will evolve, and also what you pack will be unique to you. So don't put any pressure on yourself to pack perfectly. There's no such thing as packing perfectly. So let's dive in. The first thing when you're thinking about a weekend adventure, the first thing that you want to think about is the weather. The weather is going to affect a lot of your packing decisions. So number one thing, check the weather forecast, not only for where you live, but where you're going to, your destination. So, you know, if you live on the coast and you're going to head up into the mountains for the weekend, it's going to be very different weather. So check the forecast for both. And this will help you decide a few things. Firstly, what riding gear you're going to wear while you're on the bike, what clothing you're going to wear under your protective gear, whether it's going to be the bare minimum if it's going to be hot, or if you need to layer up and wear a few more things under your protective gear. It's going to help you decide what clothing to pack for when you're off the bike at your destination. And more specifically, it's going to help you decide if you need to pack different shoes for when you're off the bike. Sometimes I am quite happy just wearing my bike boots when I'm off the bike. If it's going to be really cold or wet, I don't even bother bringing an extra pair of shoes. A hot tip, or a wet tip really, I would strongly recommend you always carry wet weather gear, no matter what. We pack our wet weather gear in our crash bar bags. If you've never heard of crash bar bags, crash bars are bars that you can put on your bike to protect the fairing. So if you drop your bike, the crash bars will take the hit and your fairing will remain undamaged, usually. So we have crash bars on all our bikes, and you can get special bags that attach to the crash bars, usually with like Velcro straps and that kind of thing. So we have a crash bar bag each. We carry our wet gear in our crash bar bags for a couple of reasons, so we don't have to think about it. It's one less decision that we have to make when we're packing. They're just automatically with us all the time. And being in the crash bar bags, they're super easy to access, so we can get to them quickly. We don't have to dig down into the bottom of our panniers to find our wet gear. And don't be like us. Put your wet weather gear on before it starts raining. We are notoriously bad for, thinking, it's not going to rain, and then it starts raining, and then we're wet, and then we stop and put our wet gear on. Don't be like us in that way. If it looks like it's going to rain, put your wet gear on. And I guess this is just proof that, you're never perfect. You're always learning. Now, let's dive into the actual packing. I'm going to cover off on a couple of options here. I'm going to suggest things to pack if you want to pack super lightly. And this is if you just want the bare minimum, if you love to have spontaneous adventures and you just want to throw a few essential things in and hit the road. First thing I would suggest is a fresh t-shirt or top, whatever you wear on top when you're riding. You can wear this at your destination at night and also when you're riding the next day, especially if it's hot and you've been sweating. And you can also use it to sleep in if you want to. I'd suggest you throw in a pair of jeans or shorts for the evening, depending on the weather, if it's hot or cold, and one pair of shoes. You might want to pack some sneakers if it's cool, or sandals if it's hot, or thongs, a fresh pair of undies and socks, and some basic toiletries. And so here I'm thinking toothbrush and toothpaste, hairbrush, body wash and poof for the shower, a moisturizer with sunscreen, and some deodorant. Just really basic stuff. Period items if you need them, medications if you need them, and your phone charger. That's usually enough for a night away. If you're not worried about looking cute, you just want to be comfortable, that's your basic stuff that you can pack for a weekend away. Now, if you want a little bit more, if you've got room for a little bit more, you could add in or change up a few things. You could throw in a nice outfit, maybe some pants and a top or a dress. If it's really hot, I like to have a dress. It's just cooler. A cute pair of comfortable shoes, again, sneakers or sandals. Maybe some extra toiletries, shampoo and conditioner, maybe some makeup. Sometimes I like to take a luxury with me, and that might be my favorite perfume or my favorite earrings. They don't take up a lot of space, and they just make me feel nice when I'm off the bike. You could throw in your favorite pajamas. If it's cool, an extra warm layer or two. If it's hot, throw in your sunglasses and a hat, maybe even a pair of swimmers and a camping towel if there might be a chance for a swim somewhere. And if there's rain in the weather forecast, you might want to throw in a compact umbrella. Maybe you want to take a book or a journal and maybe some tasty snacks. Snacks are good. Yeah. Then You will need to decide what type of accommodation you want, whether you want to camp or be under a hard roof. A hard roof might be a cabin in a caravan park, a motel, a hotel, maybe a room in a pub or an Airbnb. And hard roof accommodation is a good option if the weather forecast is a bit dodgy. You know, if it's going to be really hot or really cold, or maybe it's going to rain, then a hard roof is going to be your friend. Or maybe you prefer the extra safety of having a lockable door. Or maybe camping's just not your thing, you know? Camping can be magical. We love it. And it's definitely more budget friendly, but it does require more gear and more effort. So let's assume that you've decided you want to camp. The basic things you'll need, and you may already know this, but the quick rundown of gear that you'll need is obviously a tent, a mattress, a pump if your mattress needs a pump, a sleeping bag. If it's really cold, a sleep sheet inside your sleeping bag will give you some extra warmth. You'll need an inflatable pillow. You'll probably need a small hammer to put up your tent. And I definitely recommend a small light with some batteries and a camping chair or somewhere to sit. We have hard panniers, so we sit on our panniers, but a camping chair if you can't sit on your panniers. So that's the basic rundown of camping gear. If you're camping, you'll also need to decide if you want to cook for yourself or eat out. If you're cooking, again, this is budget friendly, but it means that you will need to carry cooking gear with you. I won't get into the cooking gear here. I'll do a separate episode on that, so keep an eye out for that. At the end of the day, when you're packing, there's no right and wrong really. Just think to yourself, which options will make my adventure feel easier and more fun? That's the rule of thumb. That's the important question to ask. And if you do pack too much or you forget something, you know, it's probably no big deal. And it'll be a great thing that you'll learn for your next weekend adventure. It's all good. No stress. Now, if you would like our free packing list, we've got a packing list that we use for all our adventures, and you can have it. You can download it. I'll pop the link in the show notes, and you can download it from there. Let me know what you think. I'll pop some links there so you can message me. I'd love to know what you pack. I'd love to know where you want to go for a weekend adventure. Message me, and I will see you in the next episode.